and welcome back to this week's edition of Ask Ron. We've got Ron here ready to answer our Gold Club members' questions. How are you doing today, Ron?
I'm great. Just getting ready to tape my Structuring Your Empire session here for today and tomorrow, which, by the way, if you guys aren't on it yet, it's free. So I don't know the link. What's the link there, Luke? They can go to?
It would be ronlegrand.com/SYE.
SYE, Structure Your Empire. That's the best we can do. Now it starts at 12 o'clock Thursday. Since you're not getting this till Friday, you can still get on here for Friday afternoon from 12 to 5. And let me tell you what I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about tax strategies, ways to sell your property and get cashed out and never pay taxes legally. I'm going to be talking about, let's see, I'm doing tax strategies. But I got several things on the agenda here for tomorrow. I think we're gonna have a lot of Q&A and whatever else comes up, actually. So.
All right, perfect. And remember, guys, this is a benefit for our Gold Club members. All of these questions were asked by current members in the Gold Club, and we can go ahead and get started. First, we have a question from Tony and Angie Stewart in Ohio.
Of course.
They're asking, they're saying, sorry we missed you in Cleveland, Ron. We were in a creative finance summit with your protege, Vina, that we committed to long before you were coming.
So wait a minute. You put Vina before me. Is that what you're telling me? Huh? What you're saying?
It sounds like.
That's all right. Vina and I go back, golly, in the early 80s when her dad was still alive. In fact, she got started in my event. She didn't tell me that story until about 20 years after I met her, but her dad didn't want her to go wholesale houses. He wanted her to keep them. So obviously, since her dad told her that, she wanted to do the opposite. And she's been wholesaling houses ever since. So anyway, she's a great gal and a great leader. So if you wanted to go to see her instead of me, I'm okay with that.
All right, and the question they had was, one of the topics that was shared there was the use of master leases.
Mm-hmm.
I came home and went to the Gold Club for content on master leases and did not find much. Can you please share your take on them? Well,
there's nothing wrong with it. It's usually designed for commercial properties. If you're leasing a house, there's no master lease. A master lease means you're leasing a unit with more than one unit in it, like a quadruplex or whatever, even an apartment complex. You're leasing it to one person, and that person is responsible for everything that the owner would be responsible for, getting rent, collecting rents, and all of that. And obviously there should be a purchase price, so it should be a master lease option. But you make a lot of money master leasing it just on the cash flow, but in that case it needs to be in good shape. In the commercial boot camp, I teach master leasing properties that aren't in good shape and need a turnaround, and then do the same thing. We establish a price now, which is a low price because it needs a turnaround, and we figure out what we think it's going to be worth later. And I want you to make sure you get the right to buy it in there, so that if you want to sell it when you're done, then you can get the difference between that and what you owe the seller. So it's kind of just it takes the place of buying it with owner financing, except you don't own it.
Perfect. All right, and then next question comes from Derek Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
He says, regarding REOs from the MLS, the bank now wants proof of funds along with the offer, not just the verbal offer. The transactional funding companies that give the proof of funds statement want a signed agreement before sending a proof of funds. The realtors say that he can only submit the offer electronically when it meets his criteria. Is there a solution to this?
Yeah, okay. Just so happens that I am now offering proof of funds to everybody who comes to my Quick Start School. So, and you don't even have to talk to a human. You just go, I'll give you the link, you go on the site, and you plug in the numbers, and you print out a proof of funds letter for you. And by the way, they've been wanting that since probably early 90s, so that's nothing new.
Perfect. Now we got another question from Derek Drummond here,
mm-hmm.
and this is a question about the GPI Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that your rule of not doing a deal without a verbal agreement is a good one. So since they don't allow you to directly communicate or get a phone number until after you have an agreement, my next question is, have you figured out a way around the website to reach the seller so you can make a verbal agreement before posting an offer?
If you're talking about making offers through realtors, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're never going to talk to the seller till after you get an agreement signed, and probably not even then. And why do you even want to? You've got an all cash price established. So no, you're not going to in-run any realtor. Boy, that's a good way to get kicked out of their circle real fast. And of course, if it's a FSBO, you get all that information on first contact. So I'm really not clear on your question. You're going to do a lot better with FSBOs than you are in the MLS. No doubt about it. I don't care where you live. The MLS is still loaded with people that pay way too much. Now, I work the MLS. I work it, but you could say I work it. Every day I get automatic feeds from a realtor who set me up, and yours can do the same. And here comes the houses. You got to set the parameters, and you get everything within that parameter that's just listed or the price has changed, and you get them daily. I went through about 8 of them already this morning, and there it gives you some facts about the house. It gives you pictures of the house so you can determine what the general repair cost would be, and you can look into see what the ARV would be and see if there's any big reason to make the offer. And 99% of them are a waste of energy, but somehow I bought 3 houses through the MLS using that system last year. But I mean, it's not a big deal. All your work is done right at your desk, but you're not going to get great deals out of the MLS. You're just not. So you better start learning how to get a hold of FSBOs. I have a course on that. It's called Generating Quality Leads. You can call my office. You might want that. Now, if you come to my Quick Start School, you get several different bonuses. You ought to call and check that out because we got half price right now. Actually, it just expired, but we're extending it to today and tomorrow. 800-567-6128. Just call them and ask them, what about Quick Start School if you haven't been there, and also the Generating Quality Leads course. It's 3 days of nothing but generating quality leads.
Perfect. All right, next question comes from Jason Hattaway in Colorado.
Jason.
He's saying, my question for you today involves a common objection that I receive from sellers. Mm-hmm. When speaking with sellers on the phone, how do you reply when they say, all right, well, I think I need to talk it over with my wife/husband?
Well, you don't want to press too hard. But what I would do is say, listen, so if your wife agrees, then you are ready to sell your house now? They probably say yes. Well, then when would you like for me to follow up? And put them to a time frame. And usually, frankly, I mean, sometimes they're real, but sometimes that's just a way to get you off the telephone. So you need to pin them down. And so if your wife agrees, are we ready to buy your house? Are you ready to sell your house? That's all you can do, because honestly, you would expect them to talk it over with their spouse, but you would also expect them to make a mess trying to explain it. Another thing you could do is could we set a time to get you and your wife on the phone?
All right, perfect. Next question comes from Sandy Strange. She said, I've been with you since the late 90s, Ron.
Oh, you're old, girl.
Each property I have is in a separate land trust.
Yeah.
My personal residence is in a reversible living trust. I have separate insurance policies on each property that is owned free and clear. My vehicle is also owned in a separate property trust. I want to get an additional GL policy. Can I do an umbrella policy for all of it, including my personal residence and vehicle, or should I keep them separate?
You're only going to get an umbrella policy if you have multiple policies with an insurance agent. So yeah, that's up to them. Make sure you tell them everything you got and let them cover it. It's cheap too. Everybody should have an umbrella policy. And by the way, if you're going to insure your cars now, make sure you insure your name and your trust names. I'm in a case like that right now where I had an accident, and State Farm paid them, but now they want to come after the trust and overturn the trust so they can get more money. And the insurance company said we didn't insure the trust, but they did insure me, so they wound up paying, but now they want more money. So make sure you insure the trust and you, whoever the beneficiaries of the trust are.
Perfect.
I keep having to learn these lessons the hard way. It cost me so much to be able to train you.
All right. Next question comes from Tasha Hill. She said, I was referred to you by Miss Kashmir, a.k.a. Mississippi Mama.
Oh, yeah, good old Mississippi. I haven't seen her in a long time.
I live in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I want to put my home in a land trust. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of got confusing from there. It sounds like she already has one of her homes in what she called a second deed of trust. So yeah. One of her questions said, what kind of trust should I put my land in? Revocable, irrevocable, estate, foreign, or grantor?
Grantor revocable trust. Now, you're a Gold Club member if you're watching this. So you go on Gold Club and pull down resources and punch a land trust up at the top in the search box, and you'll get all kinds. You'll get a whole hour or hour 15-minute seminar just on land trust, and all the documents are under. Actually, that's under training. The documents are under resources.
And then her second question was, how can I cancel the second deed of trust?
That means you have a second loan on your property, if I'm reading you right. You can't cancel it until you pay it off. And when you pay it off, whoever you owe is bound by law to give you a satisfaction of trust or satisfaction of note, mortgage, whatever in Louisiana.
Perfect. Well, that is all the questions that I have for you today, Ron. Anything else you wanted to say to the members?
No, not today. You guys just keep on plugging. This year's going by fast. Are you doing anything? Are you just waiting for something to happen? Best way to predict your future is to create it. See you next week.
Perfect.